Hi there! Welcome to Urbinary, the podcast cataloging the everyday and extraordinary in the city.
Every episode, we will explore a different dimension of our cities by connecting with individuals, actives, and experts working in urban planning. Let's dive in. Cities are a fascinating subject because they touch everyone's lives. And as cities are stretching and morphing, they offer a window into so many aspects of humanity. In the face of pressing issues, social, environmental, political, cities can offer space for creativity, for opportunity. And this is where urban planning comes in.
Urbinary.
In planning, we work to build a knowledge base, but in practice, we spend a lot of time developing strategies to engage people in conversation around cities. With Urbinary, we want to facilitate the same experience for anyone and everyone who has an interest in learning about the working of cities. And while we are master students, young professionals, we still haven't lost our curiosity, and we hope we never do.
Urbinary.
Not many people know exactly what is it, or even if it is a theory or a profession or a practice. We found that when planning is considered purely a technical project, great distances between planners and citizens emerge. But urban planning has been around for a long time, and essentially it deals with the distribution and making of space. These cultivated and curated spaces are mainly concentrated in urban areas, and important terms for planners who deal with cities. Cities are the incubator of many of the issues that affect today's world, and throughout the podcast, we will try to dig into them by chatting with people at the forefront. We hope to reveal some of the hidden mechanisms that power our cities and point out certain physical elements that we sometimes take for granted, even if they are plain sight. And through each episode, we try to better understand what is a city today, but also imagine what it will be in the future. As for agreeing upon a concrete definition of a city, it is actually difficult. Many have tried, but as students, we want to say it's basically impossible to converge on just one. Cities are expressions of pluralism, conflict, and resolution. They are hubs of art and creativity. They hold our histories and our revolution. They bind us together in a lattice of complex relationships. And the main tools to manage such complexities, they are connected to urban planning, which is an interdisciplinary and technical field of studies, which is based on physical, economical, social, architectural, engineering, but also governance aspects. These characterize every urban areas on the planet. Yet, we don't want to leave behind the individual in all of this. Humans are the center of the urban, and for this reason, we believe that a change is needed, that urban planning is comprehensible for and accessible to everyone. Reflect on your daily life. Most everything we do, every place we go, they are the result of a planning action.
Urbinary.
On Urbinary, we will break down urban projects, planning ideas, and personal approaches with the help of our guests. Sharing knowledge about planning and policies is an opportunity to empower other urban dwellers to interact with the physical environment more fully. Also, expressing our own opinions, articulating our vision for the future, we hope to provoke reflection in our listeners, no matter where you live or what you do. Today, we have here in the studio the coordinator of the Master Course of Urban Planning and Policy Design, Carolina Pacchi. Hello, Carolina.
Hello, good morning to all.
Here, we are trying to explain what is a city, but also what is urban planning. So, we would like to ask you if you can give your description of what is a city.
Quite a complex question. A city today is very different from what a city was in the past. We can certainly say that the city is a socio-technical system, and it's a complex array of different materials, some man-made and some natural, that is stretching at a regional scale. So we have compact and dense neighborhoods, we have infrastructure, we have water, we have industrial areas, we have sprawled areas, we have agriculture, and all this extended on a regional scale. The characters of cities have always been density, proximity, and diversity. which altogether make for an acceleration of social and economic phenomena, which is the reason behind the success of cities across different periods and across different geographies. And ultimately, being in Europe, we can certainly underline the role of cities as political communities, communities of free people who decide together about their future.
So, Carolina, you are suggesting us to reflect on the city not only in a practical and technical aspect, but also in its social aspect. And you are also underlying us that humans are fundamental in the developing and reflecting on cities. And maybe this is even more important in the context as the European one, where the community decide together the future of our city. And actually, it is for this reason that the desire and interest to structure this podcast has actually been developed, because we want to make citizens more aware of the fact that they change and they are an active part of changing our cities. So for helping citizens to be a real active players, we would like to ask you, Carolina, to give your idea of what is urban planning.
Urban planning is can be seen as a set of strategies and technical tools to govern development in the spatial realm. And with spatial realm, I do not mean exclusively the physical realm, the built environment. Spatial means in this understanding a realm in which we have physical manufacts, we have local societies, we have economic development, we have behavior, and all this co-evolve together. Urban planning emerged at the beginning of the 20th century as a way to try to tame the industrial city, which was growing in a chaotic way. And it can be more regulation-oriented, it can be more design-oriented, and it's certainly in the last 50 years has seen a profound, deep crisis due to the crisis of technocratic rationality, so of positivistic rationality. And thus the modernistic project, the idea that man could significantly control and transform the environment in which they lived has been met with a significant crisis, and urban planning together with that. Thus, today we have to think completely different ways of imagining how to interact with the evolution of the spatial realm and of the different populations and activities that take place there.
So again, through your answer, I think we can notice how much the role that us as future urban planners, but also you, our listeners, as citizens, play in reflecting on cities. So as I mentioned also before, this was one of the key points that led us starting this project. But we are curious to know, what do you think, Carolina, about our podcast?
I think this project is super important, and for me it has to do deeply with the role of university in contemporary societies. Universities emerged as places of education, as we know, in the Middle Ages. Then they became places of research following the industrialization in society. And they are more and more engaged with society in the last few decades. I think that the role of universities, and particularly of technical universities such as Politecnico di Milano, is to contribute to addressing the most pressing societal and environmental challenges that we are facing. And this is something that we can do by producing good knowledge, disseminating knowledge, and giving the opportunity of a strict interaction between the forms of knowledge formation through research and education and decision-making, not just policy-making, but also decision-making by diffuse interest by citizens in their daily life. Therefore, I think that this podcast may offer an insight into cities and urban planning, which are normally seen as extremely technical issues, while in fact they concern the daily life and daily behavior, and I would say daily decisions of each of us. The city is a daily experience. We contribute to transforming the city with our daily behavior, with our daily choices, how we move, what we buy, how we live. And therefore, I think it's very important that podcasts like these offer a match between what is done in universities and the societal debate.
Okay, so thank you. And I think here you have highlighted the role that university have in society in reflecting on cities. And for us, this is a very interesting topic. In fact, we will also discover this in one of our episodes by interviewing a professor of Politecnico di Milano. But also in your description, you say that it's very important to deliver urban planning in a less actually formal language. So in this way, we can make urban planning more citizen-friendly. Before we close our conversation with you, Carolina, as also we agree that it's going to be us as planners together with citizens to shape the future of our city, we would like to understand and start reflecting on what will be the future of our city. And so can you give us your reflection on this?
Again, a complex issue to reflect upon. Maybe we can reflect along two lines. The first one has to do with what has been called in the urban studies debate planetary urbanization. And I'm certainly convinced that urbanization will continue with a very quick pace. Vast areas of the planet will become urban in the sense that I discussed in the first question. So the idea that a vast array of different materials, man-made and natural, combine and stretch over a vast swath of land at regional level and then at planetary level. So I'm certainly convinced that this phenomenon will continue, and the concentration of the Earth population in cities and urban regions is certainly not diminishing in the last few years, and it will continue in the next decades. Thus, we really have to think how we imagine to make this gigantic urban formations livable and for whom. The other element which I think will be of paramount importance is the integration that is already happening, but that will take place between the physical and the digital sphere. I would even say that it's very difficult to speak of two different spheres. But certainly, I think that the city will be more and more conceived and experienced directly by all of us as a hybrid space, a hybrid sphere in which we have physical, analogical manufacts and experiences and digital experiences that will be ingrained in daily life. Therefore, to understand cities in the future, it will not be enough to look at the spatial realm as we're doing today, but we will have to have a more profound understanding of the integrations between these two spheres in directions that are difficult to foresee today.
Thank you, Carolina. This was our first reflection on the future of our city. And if you keep following us, you will get to know more reflections about the future of our cities.
Urbinary.
Before we close this first episode, I want to introduce you our team. I'm Giulia, and I'm part of the group of talented and motivated who work to produce Urbinary. We are all students from around the world, and we are pursuing our masters in urban planning and policy design at Politecnico di Milano. This is an international program, so as you can imagine, our backgrounds are incredibly diverse. And we want to bring our unique experiences, ideologies, and perspectives in our discussion. In each episode across the podcast, we take an intersectional and cross-disciplinary approach through the lens of urbinarism. Given the collaborative nature of urban planning, Urbinary is a sort of digital forum, a place to build community And this is why throughout the season we will chat with individuals and that work and teach in urban planning field. We will also discuss the role that urban planning plays in planning large infrastructures, even in places that seems quite distant from the cities, such as prisons, but actually have a very deep connection with them. We will also explore places of cultural production, of social mobilization in the city, with a particular attention to the spatial dimension of equity. We also have an interest in the impact of the small scale by focusing especially on the power of participation instruments. But also you will discover about mega events in more than one occasion.
Urbinary.
In the next episodes, we will interview a group of academic experts from the Department of Architecture and Urban Studies here at Politecnico di Milano. We wait you in the next episode for the interview of Gianfranco Arsenico, and with him we will start our journey from places where planning seems to be actually irrelevant and maybe too distant, like prisons, but in reality they are not. In fact, we will demonstrate by our interview that urban planning is connected with anything in the city. Urbinary is produced in collaboration with Poliradio, the official radio channel at Politecnico di Milano.
Urbinary, the podcast cataloging the everyday and extraordinary in the city.